Hello there. Quick video for a Sunday. I'll going to show you what I climb with, what's in my kit bag, what I use on a daily basis. Other than what's in my sort of rucksack that I take to work, which is just spare change of clothes, underwear and socks included. You never know. And other than that, that's pretty much just my lunch bags, medicines and some bits and bobs. But I have my actual kit bag, which will be just what I use 90% of the time. I don't always use my climbing spikes, but anyway, sorry about the audio. You're further away from me, and we're in my garage, so sorry about the mess. Trousers, I wear obviously chains of protective trousers and footwear. I wear the Arbortech Reflex Pros, have done now for probably a good 4 or 5 years. I've got a pair hung up to the right, which I've got a pair down in my house, and I've binned 5 or 6 pairs, but not 5 or 6, 3 or 4 pairs. I've had them in all shapes, colours. I've had the first edition, and this is the most recent edition. Can't beat them for me personally. Boots, I wear them whatever the current Andrews are. I've got the most current ones on. I've got another pair, my very old pair, which I'll wear for paintball, and then I've got a pair in my house, which are my spare pair. Swap into. They're a bit knackered, but they're for rainy weather. But yeah, that's what I found works for me. If you're looking at trying to get something new, those are unbeatable options. They're not the cheapest. Sometimes companies don't like to stretch to that far, but that's what I've always pushed to try and grab, because it's worked. I don't have any flaws in them other than pockets, but I think pockets go in every chainsaw trouser. Any zipper pocket always seems to go, but anyway. Cool. In my kit bag, actually, and then I'll use my Fan of Protoss. Got this when I started with current company. I had one before this, comfiest lid on the market. I had it in black, but we like bright colours at our company just to make sure you're safe and seen. We obviously have my GoPro mounts and facial protection. We also operate with Senas, so Bluetooth communications. That's wired up on the insides. That's enough about that. A bit closer. This is my throw line, just a Weaver throw cube. I can't remember what throw line's in there, it's been in there for years. And I have 3 different weights. I have an 8 gram, no I don't, I have a 10 gram and 2 12. Just whatever, depending on the day. Yeah, I have a slingshot as well, which I don't use often enough. I usually just get up the tree or throw a line up as high as I can. This is for accessing a top anchor point or as high up into the canopy, because I climb SRT, because I climb a single rope technique or stationary rope technique, whatever they call it nowadays. I climb on one line. That's comfortable for me. Majority of the time I climb on one line, depending on what I'm doing. Didn't today, so look out for that. This is some Tuffelberg Adrenaline from an old climb line. I can't remember how much is here. I think about 6 meters, because I have this usually in or near my kit, because whenever I'm doing crane work, not just grapple saw crane work, but proper crane work, lanyards become pretty useless. At least pruning lanyards do anyway. So I always have a massive spare one. Never been a fan of a steel core lanyard, so like a cut resistant. I like how malleable the other ones are. I like to be able to flip up and around bumps and lumps and flip line up a tree. So I always have a mega strop, so to speak, that I can swap my equipment over to and carry on with the big stuff. I also have 2 rigging rings. I've had these for quite a few years now. I think they add a small portion of friction in the tree, which is why I primarily bought them, just to take a lot of the guesswork out for the groundsman. I've never been on the ground, or I have been on the ground, but I've not. The way my career kind of went, I became a climber quite quickly because I was qualified and young and eager. So I didn't have much experience with the capstan. So my experience of rigging is trying to take the thought process out of it for my groundsmen, just to make their lives easier. So these help, and they're super lightweight. So I use these over rigging pulleys any day of the week, and they're very cheap. So rigging rings. And now onto the my silky. It's a handsaw, not going to pronounce that, but it's a pruning silky. I always have it on my harness, whether I'm pruning or not. It's the thin blade, helps get into some of those nice tight areas. Super sharp, and metal sheath, which is pretty cool because I have previously worn through the base of one of those plastic sheaths and straight across my fingers as I pulled it out. But always have a handsaw or a second way of cutting something. You never know when you're going to need it to rescue yourself, someone else, or you run out of saw on that last top. And onto the harness. Pardon me. I climb on a Tuffelberger, try and start with on the right side, Tree Motion Evo. Have done for many years. I used to have a Petzl Sequoia. I had the second generation. It wore away. I don't know if it was maybe from my style of climbing, or I was a bit too scared, sort of shimmying down the stems and wasn't climbing the tree. But wasn't a massive. It was really light. Really, if you looking for a harness out there, super light. The Petzl Sequoia was amazing. But for me, the hardware, once I started getting experience with bigger saws, and I had 4.6s or 4.60s and even 6.60s and 8.8s hanging on my harness for longer periods of time, and once I started doing that style of tree work where I was up in the tree for a longer period of time with a big saw, crane work primarily, or big wood, I noticed the fabric on the side decided to sort of envelop and fold away, and it just started to dig into your hips, and that's already an issue you're going to get with any harness. But yeah, so I got something a bit more rigid, leather. You can't beat leather. So I get mixed reviews. Lots of people decide they don't like the Tree Motion, but it seems to be an industry standard. This is try and climb on Tree Motion, and it works for me. So I run my saw carabiner off my front, just so I have access to reaching out both sides as far as possible. This is technically a strong breakaway carabiner, because you should not be using these. If you want to tie a saw to your harness, you have a ring at the back. This is what you should be using, but I like this one. I've always used the front. I know it's wrong, so I tried to mitigate it with the carabiner that's not as strong. So hopefully this will go before anything else goes in my harness, but I've never had that as an issue. Not saying I won't, because I've never fallen out of a tree, and now I have. So, but yeah, this is just how the way I use it. So do as I say, not as I do. Use the right hardware as it's supposed to be used, and then another carabiner to clip to my saw. This was actually my first ever carabiner. My saw hook, I use a Rock Exotica on the side there. Can't remember what it's called. The Transporter, that's the one. Just, you can operate it one-handed, stick it out the way. This is only used for my chainsaw, and also it's locking with that little button there. You can lock it, so if when you're climbing through lime or conifer, don't get stuck. And now to the back, I have a silver ball bum bag, to store your energy drink and snacks when you're up in the canopy. No, it's just my 4SRT chest harness, CT foot sender, and a spare snud. I might as well get that up here. Spare snud, because it's always dusty in tree work. This is where you can store. I think that's for the braces, but I don't use the braces on my my harness, so I have my my knee ascender rigged up to it. So that'll go over my shoulder, clip to my boot, and away we go. And now just a bunch of hardware, carabiners, a bunch of different hardware on there, carabiners, pulleys, tape slings, you know, just all crap. And on the side, my side strap. So I use a hitch climber-esque side strap on some poison ivy. I always quite have I like to have a short side strap on my harness. Just that's the way I like it. I don't want too many loops of things. I've designed it so it's kind of puffier at the side, because I found naturally it's easier to go through forks sideways. So if all your equipment's dangling off your back, then how are you going to get through? So I have the bum bag and there's minimal in there. Cutting materials, so my silky and my chainsaw go on my right hand side because I'm right handed. So anything that makes a cut goes on the right, everything else on the left. Lanyard, any of the equipment always on the left. I don't want to cross the two. I don't want either of them to potentially cutting, because you're keeping an eye on these things to prevent them from happening. But if you make a nick in your side strap and you don't realise, and you whip it round the stem, yes, you should have 2 points of contact at all the time. But no, we don't. So I don't. But you pop just on your lanyard and you're progressing up. You not realise, then off you go. Very unlikely, but if you can prevent it by any way, why not? Plus it's comfortable for me. I like my lanyard on my left. I keep it that way. Doesn't get dangled in between your saw. I can't stand that. So my climbing system. I climb on Current Squire V2, I think it's called, the orange one. This is my second time buying this one. I haven't found anything as good as that just yet. I've tried many ropes over the years, and for SRT and double rope, I really like it. And then I also climb on the notch rope runner. I bought that a couple of years ago because my zigzag started to fail. I love how you can adjust it, and I've adjusted it to this rope really nicely, double rope and single. Yeah, can't beat it. Super smooth. I just do really enjoy climbing SRT. It's good for my body, and yeah, I think it'll give me a little bit of longevity, unfortunately. Kit bag. I have the 50 litre Tuffelberger. Don't know what it's called, but I bought that 5 or so years ago. I've dropped that thing out of the crane at stupid heights, and it should not have survived, and yet every single day it performs. I've had it where I've left it on jobs where I've had to lead my rope up a tree, and it's been pissing it down, and I swear, so God strike me down, I've come back to site with my rope bone dry. I don't know how it does it. I think it's something to do with the ventilation on the sides and the underside. Don't ever seem to have an issue with it. Always seems to vent its way through. Crazy, but can't recommend them enough. And finally, climbing spikes, or climbing aids people call them. I have the distal carbon clicks, so they're carbon fibre, but they also have these fancy clip-ins to make them nice. Once you've adjusted them, they stay adjusted. Although now, I think I've had them 5-6 years, they seem to be a little bit looser around the adjustment, but not drastic enough that I can't just velcro them back up and like tight and ready to go. I also have the long gaffs on mine. Don't know if you can see there, but I like the long gaffs. I like it when I don't know, anybody out there who's spiked down a stem and there's been a burr on a tree and you've missed it, and whereas these gaffs, I don't even look at what I'm spiking into, because it's something, and sometimes it's yourself because they are massive. But I would never put another. If I ever get a new set of spikes, those gaffs are going straight on them, and I guarantee they're also going to be carbon fibre spikes, because anyone who's been in a tree for longer than an hour, usually 5-6 hours when you're doing a massive takedown or a crane job, the weight on your feet really makes a difference. So I can't recommend it enough. But yeah, hopefully that's answered any questions, and ask any more in the comments, and I'll go more in depth with whatever you think you need to know about. So yeah, thank you. Hope you enjoyed.